Hello everyone, this is Ishan Shah and welcome to zinteractive. We will go through lesson 14 today. So once your 3D models are ready, it's time to put camera, set up the renderer, and of course lighting. Let's turn on some lighting.
This is gonna be so much fun.
I'm not a Christmas tree.
So let's start with the lighting first. But to have a lighting in this scene, we must have an extra object. So let's see how we can import an external object. If you remember, we worked on a sofa. So let's bring the sofa here. To import the external objects, okay, so what we need to do is that we have to go to File, Import, and then we have one option, Import, okay, and other option we have Merge. So I can use a merge because I want to import a 3D Studio Max file. Okay, but if you don't have a 3D Studio Max file, if you have some other file which is like a Maya file or a Blender file or ZBrush file, so you can go to import. But I can work with the 3D Studio Max file, so I'll go to merge. Once I will go to the merge, I have to go to the folder where I have saved my file. So if you remember last time we worked on the sofa, so here we have a sofa file here. I will select this file and I will open it up. Once I will open it, it will ask me what do you want to import or merge. So I want to merge everything except for the plane because I don't want the plane anymore. So I will select all of them with the Control key pressed and leaving the plane unselected. Okay. Now what I will do is that I will just press OK, and once I will do that, you will notice that the whole sofa thing is here. Now one thing I can do here, I can quickly go to the group and group it and call the sofa. Okay, so I have a group named sofa here. So now I can simply move the sofa wherever I want. Okay, let's put one sofa here, and then what we can do is that I can mirror a copy or an instance, for example, of the sofa to the other side. Okay, so I have this very small scene here. Okay, so you can see that I have two sofas here and a kind of a very small scene. You can see that. Okay, so now we don't have light. Now, once you don't have light in your scene, it won't look nice when you will render it. So let's see how the render looks like without the light. Before doing that, we can click on the render setup. Here you can see a render setup button here, or you can go to rendering and here you have the render setup. So you do have two ways to go to the render setup. So once we are in the render setup, you will see that we have a rendering option here. The renderer currently selected is Arnold. Arnold is a renderer which comes with 3D Studio Max 2021 when you install the software. So we don't want to use Arnold at this stage. We want to use the Scanline render, which is the default 3D Studio Max renderer. Okay. So once we do that, we have here view to render, which view we want to render. So I told you before, the perspective viewport is the viewport that is used for rendering purposes. So we will leave this as a perspective. Okay. Otherwise, we have other viewports too, but we will stick to the quad for perspective viewport. Now we have different kind of settings here. The first here is the common setting. In the common setting, we have single frame, like suppose one frame. If you're animating, so wherever your timeline is, it will render that frame. So we are not obviously rendering an animation, so we don't have to worry about it. So we will keep the single as it is here. If suppose you are animating and your timeline is like from 0 frame to 1000 frames, so you can click on active time here, okay, which is 0 to 1000. Or if you want to set up your own range, like I don't want to render from 0 frames to 1000 frame, I only want to render from 0 to 50. So I can click on range and I can change it to 0 to 50. That's all I can do that. Or what I can do is that If I don't want to render the whole thing, suppose I want to render frame 1, then I want to only render frame 3, then I want to render from frame 5 to frame 12. So that's how you can also do it, but I will keep it single. Now here's the output size. What kind of size do you want? There are some predefined sizes here. 120, 1280 by 720, then 1920, which is the HD size, then other sizes you have. Then you have the whole bunch of presets here as well. Okay, so I don't want a preset. I will go to the custom and I will use the smallest one, not too small, not too big. So I think this one is fine. Okay, now 3D Studio Max can render atmospheres, effects, displacements, everything. But if you don't want to see these, any one of these, you can uncheck them. Okay, so it's up to you. You can check the use of advanced lighting if you're using it. If you're not using it, it can still be checked. So like there is no issue here. Now, if you are making a proxy here, okay, to avoid crashes or to save the memory, you can create a bitmap proxy, which we'll cover later on. Now, render output is what? Suppose if you are animating and then you want to render that animation, you can click on the files, okay, choose your folder, write the name of your output file. Suppose you will choose here MOV, okay, or AVI, and type the file, so that video will be animated in the folder that you have selected. Or you can choose any image here format, like suppose I will select here JPEG, okay, or I can select any other size like PNG and write the name. So what it will do, it will make a sequence like frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you will take that sequence and you can put that sequence in any one of your favorite editing software like Premiere or After Effects and join them together. Okay, if you are animating a single frame, so it will be rendered as a single frame. So at this point I will choose the JPEG and I can write the name whatever I want and wherever I want to save it. Okay, so it will be saved in my documents, 3D Studio Max 2021 render output, and I can write here test. Okay, so when I will render this, automatically it will save in the render output in as a file name called test. Okay, so now it will ask you, once you press save, it will ask you what is the quality you want. So I want the best quality. Okay, so obviously when I will move the slider to best, these will automatically change. Okay, so file size larger, smoothness will be normal, and okay. Now if you're rendering online, like if you're rendering on cloud, so you can give your email here. So once it is rendered, it will send you like a notification that your rendering has been done on the cloud. Okay, if you have any scripts, you can click on the scripts. Okay, assign render, you can choose your renderer here. Okay, so I am using Scanline render for production. Okay, for other things, active shade, I don't want to use that, so I don't have to worry about it. If it can be a render, it can Scanline render or art render, so it doesn't matter at this stage. Okay, but you have to more worry about the production, which is already rendered. But I did change the active shade to Scanline render also. Okay, what is the active shade? Active shade is basically when you are interactively rendering, you are changing, so it will refresh. So for that purposes. Now the next here is the renderer. Now renderer, we are using Scanline renderer, so Scanline render specific settings will be here. Okay, like I have checked all the major options, like mapping is on, so mapping will be rendered, shadows will be rendered, refractions, force wireframe, I don't want to render wireframe, so I will uncheck this one. If you want to check, then you can click on it and then you have to set up your wireframe thickness, but I don't want that. Okay, enable SCC if you're using SCC for gaming and other things, or architecture modeling, so you can do that, but usually we don't use it much more. Anti-aliasing for the quality of your outlines. Okay, so if you want a better quality, so you can turn it on. Okay, so that's why it is on over here. and filter maps works with it basically. Now global sampling is what global super sampling is the quality of your maps. If you're creating a very large animation, so to avoid taking a lot of time, you can disable or enable the super sampler, so it will be not too expensive when you're rendering. Okay, now if you want a motion blur, if you're animating, then you can add a motion blur. Motion blur can be shown in the non-animated scenes as well, so you can go to any middle of the frame, render it, and at that part there will be a motion blur. So basically it works with the camera. We will look into it. Now render elements. Suppose if you are going to render things that are like specific things that you don't want to render, or you want to change settings in that, so you can add them or remove them from here. Ray tracer, we don't change it a lot, we keep it as it is, because ray tracer is all about your refraction and reflection. Okay, advanced lighting, if you're using an advanced lighting, we will get back to it. So right now we will just render the scene and see how it will be shown. So this scene will be rendered. Okay, so if I will click on it, so you can see that it just rendered as it is without any kind of lighting. Okay, so looks very simple, no shadows, nothing, just got rendered as it is. So what we can do here is that how to make lights and what kind of lights do we have. So we can go in the create option here, and here you will see lights. Once you will go to the lights, you will see different kind of lights here. Photometric lights, we don't want to use photometric, we want to use standard lights. Now what are the standard lights? Standard lights are the lights used for Scanline renderer, which we are using right now. Other than that, we have Arnold, but Arnold we will cover in the next lesson. So we will go to standard. Now here we have different kind of lights. Let's see Omni light. Now what is the Omni light? Omni light is like a bulb. Okay, so it's omnidirectional. It falls on everything wherever they wherever you create it. Like suppose if I put it in the middle, okay, from the top viewport, so you will notice that it will be always on the floor. So manually you have to take your moving tool, okay, and then move your light upwards. Now if I can go in the modify settings, okay, I have everything turned on here, light is on, shadow is on. Now we have here atmospheric effect, which we don't want to work on right now. We don't want any atmospheric effect. Our most focal point will be intensity, color, and attenuation. So I will go to the intensity. Right now the intensity is 1. So let's see how it looks like. Press the render setup with the intensity 1. Make sure this is perspective. Click render. So because it will override the test.jpg, so I will say yes. Okay, now you can see there are a little bit shadow over here. Okay, now this is multiplier 1. So if I will make it multiplier 3 and render it, so it will be more stronger. And same thing if I will make it lower, like maybe 0, and render it, so you can see there is no light, because now it's not showing the default light. Before, without the Omni light, there was default light. Now whenever you put some extra light, that default light is automatically turned off. Now if I will make it 0.5, so you can see that it will be slightly better. Okay, now I can change the color of it. Maybe I can have something like a yellowish color. So you can see the color is yellow. Okay, now I have a decay. Now what does the decay do? Decay is basically the amount of light falling off your scene. Okay, suppose right now there is no decay, so light is infinite, so it's falling infinitely everywhere. But in reality it's not like that. Depending on the power of the bulb, it have a decay. More powerful, as powerful the bulb is, more light it will produce. Okay, so at this stage I don't have a decay, there is no decay type. So if I will go here, I have inverse and inverse square. Let's see what is inverse. If I will click on inverse, you can see there is a boundary here. So this boundary is showing that this is the strength of the bulb, and after that the decay will start. Okay, so if I will press show here, okay, so it will show me the result. Let's see. Let me click here, perspective viewport, and click and press yes. So you can see now there is some decay here. So let me go here, okay, and take the light. I think I have to select from here, okay, and then decrease the decay. You can see the decay amount is becoming smaller. Now if I will render, just notice here how it looks like. More and more, less light is producing. Right now I am in the multiplier 0.5. Let's make it 2 and see what will be the result, because 0.5 is a very low intensity. So now you can see it's getting better, and you can see the spot is hitting here. If I will make it more smaller, okay, and render it, you can see the result is becoming the same as before. So decay basically gives you realistic result. Okay, if I will turn this decay to inverse square and then try to render it, what it will do is it will produce a more darker result. The thing is that the inverse square basically is, you can say it's an it's a law which is which tells that any quantity, okay, it is inversely proportional to the square of the distance from that source. Okay, so that's why you will see a like more darker result here. Now if I increase it, you will understand more of it. Now if I will render it, okay, so now you can see that the specified physical quantity is inversely proportional to the square of the distance, okay, especially from the source of that physical quantity. So I'll try to keep the inverse square here. It will give me much more better here. Now we have near attenuation, we have far attenuation. So I can use any one of these. Let's use the near attenuation. So if I will click on use here, you can see that there is a blue border here which tells me where is the where is the ending or the starting is going. Okay, so if I will increase the end here, let me click on show. Okay, so you can see that where is that near attenuation going, where that fall off is going. So still here. So in this part, in this region, there will be the effect of light. Out of that, it will be a decay. So let's see how the result will look like. Okay, so at the stage, because it is bigger, so it won't show anything. So if I will make it smaller, okay, and this one smaller as well, so you might see the clear result here. So you can see that how it is working. Okay, so now if I will uncheck this and use the far attenuation, and you can see it has become more and more bigger. Okay, how far the light is going. Okay, this is how near the light is going. So let me check on the show as well. First I will decrease the start, and also I will decrease the end. So you can see the start is coming from, like, it is starting from here, the attenuation, and then it is ending here. So how the result will be, it will be something like this. Okay, but if I will increase it more, it will become, it will start producing more light. And if I will increase the start as well a little bit more, so you can see it's getting more, like more and more light is getting out of it. Okay, so this is how you can create interesting lights through these kind of settings. Okay, so this is what we have. I will turn it off because I don't want to work with that. I only want to work with the decay. Okay, so that's all. Now you can produce as many lights you want. For example, if I will go here in my top viewport and I can move this light here, press shift key, move this light here, and then I can select both of them and press shift and move them here, so I can have a duplicate of it. Now they all are instance, so if I will render it right now, so you can see how the lights is producing and see the shadows. Okay, so this is how you can produce nice looking lights here. Let me remove these. I don't want these right now. Let's make some. Let me minimize this, close this one. Let's go and see what other lights we have. We have here target direct light. Okay, now target direct light is basically, we have target direct light and we have free direct light. So first let's see what is the free direct light. Okay, if I click on the free direct light and click from the top viewport, so you will see that on the floor, wherever you click anywhere on the top viewport, you will see that on the floor the light is like created, and you have to move it up. Now you can see that there is a light beam, okay, pointing straight down here. So now if you will notice that it is something like this, a bigger. If I will move it more little upward, okay, and then try to render the scene and see how it looks like. So you can see there is a spot of light here. Okay, now basically directional light is not used the way I have used it here. It's basically a light used for coming from an opening, like opening of a window or a door. Okay, it's not like a spotlight. It's a directional light which is coming from a window or a door. So in this case it will be not that interesting, okay, because it's coming from the top area, which is not interesting part. Okay, so we'll once we will move to the closed environment, then I will tell you what it is basically. So let me close this one right now. We'll like delete it right now. Now let's see the target direct. Okay, so free light is that the way I made it right now. Let me undo it. You can freely move it anywhere. Okay, it will not have an issue. But let me delete it and create a target direct light. Creating a target direct light, you need a source first. So I will make the same source which was here, and then once I click here, I have to now drag my mouse to the target. Now this is my target, which is these two sofa. I will not go exactly over there. That's all. Now if I will render it, let's see what is the result. Result is same. Okay, but what is the difference? Now if I will click on this light, the first thing that I created was what? Source. So if I will click on the source, and if I will move, it will not move like the free direct light was moving. What it will do is that it will move only the source, but the target will stay as it is. The target is still on these two sofas. Okay, so if I will render it now, so let me render this view. Okay, so you can see now the light is coming from this direction. Okay, so I hope you have understood about this. Now we have free spotlight. So if I will go to the top viewport, click here, and then I will go to the front viewport and move this spotlight a little bit upward. Now what is a spotlight basically? You can see how the spotlight is. Spotlight is just like as it says with the name, it's a spotlight. Okay, so if I will render it, okay, let me render the perspective viewport. You have to click on the viewport which you want to render, then you have to press this button, otherwise it will render the active viewport. Okay, now I will render this, and you can see that there is a lot of light because the size of it is too huge. Let me do one thing. If I will go here in the modifier panel and keep this selected, you will see all the settings that I have here. So I can go to the intensity here. Okay, I have this multiplier. I will change this multiplier to 1. Okay, decay is still on, same decay. Now let's see how it looks like. Okay, better. Now the other important thing in the spotlight and the directional light is the parameters, direct parameters, like direct light parameters or spotlight parameters. So if you're using direct light, so you will have direct light parameters, otherwise you will have spotlight parameters. So if I will click here, I have light cone. So if you will see, the spotlight is always in a conical shape. So if I will click on, if I will go to the show cone, it will show me the cone, okay, or I can turn it off, or I can use the overshoot here. So overshoot, what it will do, it will show me the decay over here. So I don't want that, these two, neither of these two. Okay, now I have here hotspot. Now what is the hotspots? Hotspot is the area where the most of the light is appearing. So the hotspot you will see is this huge. I don't want the hotspot to be too huge. I will reduce this, and you can see this part is becoming smaller and smaller. So it is too small now. Now if I will render, so you can see how it looks like. Now you can see the hotspot is now in this area, so it's not brighter as it was before. Now I can go here and go to my fall off. Now what is the fall off? Fall off is the light which is falling around the spotlight, like this whole area. Okay, so like the fall off is also a little bit higher. So let me reduce this fall off, and now let's see the result. So you can clearly see the beam of the spotlight over here. Okay, you can see the spot over here. So fall off, I have decreased it a lot. Let me increase it a little bit. So you can see little bit blurriness. This blurriness is because of the fall off. As bigger the fall off is, it will be more smoother. Okay, now I have increased the fall off. So now let's see what is the result. So you can see it's more getting smoother and also bigger. It's too big now. Let me reduce a little bit more. So you can experiment with different sizes. Now it looks pretty fine. Okay. Now what if I will reduce the hotspot beam more? Okay. So if I will render now, so you can see that it's more falling in this area rather than here, because here what is happening, the fall off is taking the light from the hotspot beam, and you can say kind of sprawling outside this area. So this is how it will work. Now in all these lights, omni or direct light or spotlight, okay, basically we have shadow parameters in all the lights. Now what is the shadow parameters? About the shadow. Now if I will go to the shadow parameter, I can change the color of the shadow. Okay, like suppose I want a blue shadow, and if I will render here, so you will see that the shadow will become blue. Okay, basically you can do that to give an illusion of a glass like causing some like, you know, caustics or something like that, but I will keep it black. Now what is the intensity? The power of the amount of your shadow. Right now if I will do it, it is 1, so it will look like this. If I will make it 0.1, so it will become very light. Okay, so you can see almost invisible. Let me make it a little higher, maybe 0.5, because 0.1 is almost transparent. So now you can see the shadow is there, but it's too light, so I will increase it. Okay, maybe let's see 5. 5 is too much, so it will become much more darker. So you can see it's too dark, so I will keep it as it is 1. Now I can use any kind of image over here, and that image will become my shadow. For example, I can click here, okay, and there are a lot of sample images here. I have one sample image here, which is noise. Let's use noise here, and I will use copy or instance. So let's make it instance. Now if I will render this, so you can see that the shadow is now showing the map, but I don't want that. I will right click here, clear, and no map. Okay, so if you don't want anything, you can just right click and clear. Okay, light affects shadow color, means like whatever light you have, it will affect the shadow color. So I think it's a good idea to turn it on so that you can have a realistic result. So if I will render now, so not too much details, but if as many lights you will have, you will get a different kind of result over here. Okay, so this is how you can have a spotlight. Now this is the free spotlight. You can make a target spotlight the same, or you can make a free spotlight, and once your setting is done, you can click on this target. So once you click on this target, so what will happen, this part will become your target automatically. So you can see that there is this yellow box, small tiny yellow box. This small tiny yellow box is now the target. So if I will move this, you can see that target is not moving. Suppose if I will move it here, and from the left viewport, if I will move it here and then try to render the perspective viewport, you will see a completely different result. Okay, and what you can do is that you can take this target, you can move this target down as well. Okay, now if I will render this, so result will be a little different. Okay, so this is how you can do different kind of changes here. Okay, and then so now let's delete this spotlight and let's add a skylight. Now what is a skylight? Skylight is basically advanced light. Okay, so now if I will render it, you can see it again has given me the default light setup. Okay, so I don't have any light. Now what if I will take the skylight? Usually skylights use advanced light settings. Okay, now if I will take a skylight, it's better to create from the top viewport anywhere, because skylight's location doesn't matter. I can put it anywhere, like suppose here, and you can see here is my skylight here. Okay, so basically it is out of the room, it's here, but the location of the skylight, it doesn't matter, it just have to be in the scene. Now if I will go and render this, you will see something like this. It will become flat. Okay, why? Because this advanced lighting is not set up yet. So what you need to do is that you have to go to the render setup. Okay, advanced lighting, and in the advanced lighting we have to turn on the light tracer. So once the light tracer is on, you can set up these values. Usually you keep these values as it is, not too much change you will put here. Only some changes that you apply is maybe in the skylight setting, which is the intensity of light, but you can change it from here as well. So I will keep it as it is. I will not change anything, and I will close it. Now as it is activated, you can click on it, you can go to the modify panel, and you can have your whole setup. Very easy to set it up, because only thing that you need to change is the multiplier. Okay, now if I will render this scene, so you can see that the rendering has become a little slow, but you can see the result is pretty much very accurate and more realistic. Okay, you have soft shadows around, you have really nice like shadow parts. Okay, basically this shadow is called ambient occlusion. So you have now the ambient occlusion, and you can add spotlights or omnilights to create the harder shadows. So result will be much more better. For example, if I will go here, okay, and create an omnilight here, okay, move it upwards, and then I can check what is the value. I think the values is fine. Okay, let's see how the result will be. Okay, so it's too bright, so what you can do is that simply you can reduce it to 0.3, I think the multiplier 0.3, okay, of the omnilight, and let's see what is the result. Yes, much better. Okay, so you have now much more better result here. You have a good light setup here. Okay, now what else we can do in the skylight here? In the skylight you can increase or decrease the multiplier. Okay, at this stage I think 1 is fine. Then we can use scene environment. If I will click on the scene environment, what it will do is that it will take this environment. Right now I have a black environment, so let's see how it will look like. It will look a little bit darkish, okay, because my environment is black. So if I will change my environment, okay, for example, if I will go to the render setup here, okay, or I can directly go to the environment. In the environment, I can change my color to whatever I want, okay, maybe bluish. And then if I will render this, you can see now the background is blue. So result will be a little bit bluish. So you can see there is a bluish feel to it, a bluish tint to it. Okay, so that's you can use for the scene environment. But I don't want that to have a blue color. I will go back here, then this back to black, close it, and I will use the sky color, and I can choose any color over here of the sky. Maybe I want to use a bluish sky color, something like this. Okay, and then if I will render this, so you can see the background is black, but the light is having a blue tint because I changed the sky color to blue. What else you can do is that you can add a HDRI map. Okay, now you can get HDRI map from online. There are a couple of websites. One of the one of my favorite websites is the HDRI Heaven. Okay, and it's all free. You can download from there. So what I can do is that I can click on the no map. Okay, in the no map, I have to now search for a bitmap. Now bitmap, you have to close this one and you have to go to the maps. Okay, you have to go to the general here. Okay, inside the general you will see bitmap. Now what is the bitmap? Bitmap means image file, external image file. So if you will click on the bitmap, it will ask you which image file you want to use. So I will click on the bitmap here, double click on it. Now it's asking me where I should go. So I can go to my folder here. Okay, and then here I have all these files, and there is a HDR file. You can see it's a high definition file, which is like a you can say panoramic background. So if I will open it up, okay, it will show me this is what you're going to add. I say okay, fine. Now it have this kind of like HDR image to it. Now if I will render, so what it will do, it will not take the sky color. What it will take the map. Okay, so if I will use the scene environment, it will be deselected. So make sure you are in the sky color option. Now if I will go here and render it, so you will see that the colors are quite different now. Okay, because it is taking the color from this HDRI file. So this is how you can create much more realistic environment with the help of HDRI. Okay, now if I will remove this Omni light, okay, and just check the result with the sky colors, just so that we can see how is the HDRI working. Okay, so you can see this is how the result is, because it's an outdoor construction area. So you will see it looks like an outdoor environment. If I will increase my multiply to 3 for suppose, okay, and then render it, so you can see much more brighter scaling. Okay, so this is how you can get the result here. Now let's do one thing here. Let me close it for a while. I have this open box, which is this one. Now I will turn off this open box and I will go to the closed box and turn it on. Now there is no difference here. The only difference is that this is closed from all the sides. So what I need to do, I have to make an opening here. Okay, like a window opening. So to make a window opening, what I need to do is that I have to go here, edit poly. Okay, in the E part, okay, I will take this edges from this side. Okay, and if you all remember, what do we have here? Connect. So I will go in the setting and I will use 2 segments and slide them a little bit here to this side. Okay, and check mark. Now I need these edges. I will select these edges. Again, I will do connect. Okay, and from this side I will pinch it a little bit more, slide a little bit down. So what I'm doing is that I'm trying to make a part here which I can remove, okay, delete, so it will become like a opening for a window. So I will press a check mark. Okay, now let me move around here and see where it is. Okay, let me turn on my edge faces so I can see that. Okay, so here I have this opening here and I can delete this. Once I will delete it, you can see that I have these 2 sofas inside. So there is a window opening here. Now because I deleted it, there is no thickness to this box. It's paper thin. So what I need to do is that I will keep it selected, uncheck all the sub objects, and then I can go in the modify list and use shell. What does the shell do? It gives you a little bit thickness. So I will click on shell and I will use the outer mount, everything as it is. I will not change anything. But the question is how I will go inside. Okay. Now to go inside, you need to make a camera. Now, just like the spotlight, direct light, the camera, there is camera, normal and direct camera, or you can say the targeted camera. Okay, so I can go to the create option here and I will go to the cameras. Inside the camera, I have free camera and I have direct camera. Now this is the standard one. Otherwise we have Arnold also, but I'm not using Arnold. I will use the standard camera. Okay, now inside the standard I have free, I have target. You can use this one for Arnold also, or you can use it for anything else. Now I will create a free camera. Okay, and if I will create from the top viewport, what will happen? The camera will be pointing down, which I actually don't want. So I will choose from maybe left or the front. I think front will be the best because it will be facing where I will click. So if I will click here, it will be facing this side. So can you see that? Now the camera is inside this box. So what I will do here, instead of perspective now, I can click on the perspective and I will go to the camera and camera 001, because this camera which I created is called camera 001. As soon as I will click it, you can see nothing. Why? Because camera is facing on the wall. So if I will take the camera, move it back, okay, so you can see now things are getting visible. So if I will rotate it a little bit here, move it here, okay, so you can start seeing things clearly here. I don't want to go out, otherwise what will happen? I will go out of the view. Now I cannot see the whole thing. The reason is that the room is too small and the camera focal length, this field of view, okay, is like huge. Okay, so what I need to do, I have to select my camera. I can go to this modifier. Okay, I can turn this camera target like what we did to the spotlight and direct light, or as it is. But what I need is that I need to fix the field of view so I can see everything. Okay, so if I can go to the lens, I can change the lens. It can become bigger or smaller. Okay, and the field of view will change. Or what you can do is that you can change the field of view. Okay, so it will become something like this. Okay, so usually you don't keep it this far, but actually our room is too small, so we don't have a choice. But in reality, you don't change this. So I will try to change the camera settings here, like rotation. I will rotate a little bit. I will move it. Okay, now just notice, if I will go here in this viewport, as we were in the perspective viewport, you remember if you press mouse wheel button and move around, it will pan. But now if I'm panning you, it's not the perspective viewport panning. You can see on all these viewports, it's the camera which is panning. Okay, now if I will use my mouse scroll wheel button to move in and out, okay, so I cannot do that anymore because scroll wheel will not work for the zooming and zooming out. So you have to click on this button, which is the dolly camera. So if I will click on the dolly camera button and then zoom in and zoom out, it will move my camera near to the objects and far away from the object. This one is the field of view. Okay, so if I click on here, you can see the field of view is changing. You can notice here as well, but I don't want to change it a lot. This one is basically the truck camera. Now what does the truck camera do? Is the panning. Okay, now here we have the perspective. So if you will change this, so the perspective of the camera will change. So I don't want this to be too much wide angle, so a little bit wide I will make it. So now I think it's better. Now this is the camera roll, so it will roll like this. Okay, and you can undo it if you don't want the setting. This is orbit camera, so I can move around like this. Okay, you can see how the camera is moving around, and rest are the same thing. So I hope you know about the camera right now. We will go more in detail to the camera in the next class. Here I just made the camera, so you know how to make a camera inside a room and how to move inside that room. Okay, so that we can learn how to get the light from outside, from exterior to interior. Okay, so let's see here what we have. We have only one skylight here. So now if I will go to the render setup here, okay, or basically render frame window, if you click here, you will get the same window here, and make sure this is activated. You can click with the middle mouse button here and then press on render, so it will render this scene. So it will say you want to overwrite. Yes, I want to overwrite, and you can see how the light is coming by. Now you can notice here there is a lot of noise here. Okay, first of all, I have to change this outline like outdoors here. I can go to environment, rendering here, environment, and then I can go to the light, and I want to use the same image here, okay, as the environment here. So what I can do, I can drag this one and drop it here. Simple as that, and use instance. Okay, now what will happen is that you can see that there is a outline as like before, or like as it is there actually. So if I will move my camera, so you can see that how it is there. Okay, so I'm using the same skylight environment there. Now if I will render this scene, so you can see that. So now you can see the result is getting like very close to the light itself, the HDRI, but you have noticed that there is a lot of noise. The quality is really bad. Now how to change the quality, how to fix the quality? Simple, you need to go to the render setup, and then we have to go to the advanced lighting. Now in the advanced lighting we have all these settings. Now we have here global multiplier. Now what does the global multiplier do is that all these settings, okay, it's the one, if I will increase this multiplier, it will change a bit of these like setting from each of these like options. Okay, I don't want to change that. I will simply jump to the ray samples. Now ray samples is too low. It is right now 256. Let me change it to 1024. Press enter, and then if I will click render here, you will see the rendering is getting little better than before, but still you can see there is a lot of noise here. And as I have increased this, the rendering time is also increased. Okay, now what else I can change here is the adaptive undersampling. At this stage, my initial sampling spacing is a little bit high. That's why I'm getting like more of these spots. If I will change it to lower value, maybe 1 by 1. 1 by 1 is too low, so that means the rendering quality will be good, but it will be too slow. So I will make it 1 by 1, and if I will render it now, so it will be quite slow. Okay, so you can notice that it is rendering very slowly and gradually. Okay, so let me fast forward this video so you can see that. So as it is rendered, and you can see that the quality is now much better. So let's do one thing. Let's close this one here, okay, and make a directional light coming through this window here. So I will go in the lights, okay, I will take the I think target direct light, okay, and here is my basically opening. So I will create the source here and drag my target here, okay. Now the thing is that the light is a little bit far away. You can see that the door is like window is here, but light is somewhere else. So what I need to do is that I have to take both of these, the target, okay, with the control key, and the source with the control key. I have selected both of them. Then I will move them back here, and you can see that it is now in the right spot. So from here you can see that it is right in the spot. What else I can do is that I can take my source, go to the modifier panel, okay, directional parameter, and I can increase the hotspot and like a beam more, okay, beam a little bit like this, and hotspot I will increase even more, okay. Now in the intensity, I don't want that to be too high, so I think 0.3 is fine, okay, because always it will give you the last value that you have given. Now I will click here, render frame window, and let's see how it looks like if I will render now. Obviously it will be too slow because of the settings. So what I will do is that I will pause it, and once it will rendered, I will come back. So now as it is rendered, you can see that how the light effect is produced here. You can see how the light is falling, it's taking the shape of this opening, and then it is creating here. You can see that when the light is falling, it is creating the shadow of this sofa over here on the ground as well. So not too realistic, but yes, it has become a little better than the other parts, that other lights we were using. So I hope guys you have understood about how the 3D Studio Max default lights, renderer and camera works, okay. So we will study more about the texturing and a little bit more about the camera in the next part of this lesson. So this is the end of the part A, and next class we will move to the part B of lights and cameras and rendering of Maya default renderer, which is the Scanline renderer. So guys, until then, please take care, and don't forget to like this video. If you have if you like this tutorial, click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed yet, because I will be uploading so many like tutorials and good things in future right now, and there are a lot of plans coming up, a lot of new good things are coming up. Some good news is on the pipeline. So don't forget to click on the bell icon as well, and watch all my videos from starting till end, because there are a lot of important things in between. And do not download the videos, please watch it online so I can have enough watch time hours. Otherwise I will have issues and you know, I will not be able to continue if I will not have good amount of watch time hours. So please watch all my videos online, and take care. Thanks all for your support, your lovely comments and everything. I'm just reading your comments all the time, and what like the support which I'm getting from you, so I'm really like thankful to you. So keep supporting my channel, and I will be keep on uploading these videos for you guys. So take care and see you in the next part.